Yo, what's good? It's Mastermind MMA. And motherfucking young Yoelito got the interim title belt against young Robert Whittaker. Damn, son. So here's the thing, man. So they called off the GSP Bisping fight. And Bisping said, buddy. You know what someone you know what someone said? Someone pointed out a shitty impression I did last video, and I was like, you know what? I can't even hate on that because that wasn't my best work. And that was a shitty impression. So, I'm not even gonna come with that until I get that on point. So so Bisping was like, all right, so my knees still hurt. I was willing to fight in July. He wants to wait. This works for me. I'm willing to wait. And then Dana's like, all right, so it's Bisping versus Yoel. That's what's happening. And then they announced this. All right, what do I think about this, man? Robert Whittaker was smart because he knocked out. He had that fight where Jacare and Luke were supposed to headline it. He was the co-main against Derek Brunson. Luke pulled out. Jacare was an alternate for 205, and they just pulled that fight. So they left him to hometown. Not hometown. They left him to headline in his hometown. So he was the star, and then you had Brunson doing that shitty ass performance where he was running like a fucking motherfucker on some bath salts or some shit, like a zombie ass game, and got clipped up quick, knocked out, and then he got the Jacare fight. And that was after Jacare beat Timbo, so it was kind of like, all right, so they're just kind of feeding Jacare. Jacare was like, he was the one coming so entitled. He was saying, not entitled, but he was like, oh, I deserve the title fight. Michael Bisping was like, oh, Luke, why are you ducking the Yoel fight before Bisping even won the belt? And he's like, oh, I'm glad to fight Jacare. And then never did. And then when Yoel knocks out Chris Weidman, oh, I'm not fighting Yoel. He's on PEDs. He said that before that. But then they're like, no, Yoel's up next. He's like, all right, I'll fight Yoel. And then wants to fight GSP in December. And was like, you know what? I'll fight Yoel later when I'm healed. And then they announced the GSP fight. And then they say, no, that shit's canceled. You're fighting Yoel. And then they announced this shit. So I don't even know how we got back to this bitch. But like this bitch in the sense of fucking the situation of we made a circle talking about this shit. But we're talking about Whittaker and Jacare. And then so they're feeding Whittaker to Jacare. And then Jacare got clipped the fuck up. He took the back of Robert. Robert defended, hurt Jacare multiple times, and finished him, man. And did his motherfucking thing. Salute to Robert Whittaker. I don't know if you guys heard that a video was done, but young Robert Whittaker doing his damn thing, getting the title shot in a sense, because this is kind of, depending how you look at it, I don't know if people are gonna be like, oh, I acknowledge who they say the real champion is, but like I feel like in certain situations that's subjective to people who you feel like really is the best and deserving and getting the belt, in the sense of Bisping hasn't defended against a top contender. And in his one defense against the then ranked number 15 ranked Dan Henderson, he arguably lost. So Yoel beat Chris Weidman, Whittaker beat Jacare, and Yoel beat Jacare. And now we have something. We'll see if Whittaker wins this. It's off to the motherfucking races for that guy, because when you think about it, he got all this fandom from knocking out Jacare when no one thought he would. And I thought I definitely thought there was a chance. I was like, I had a feeling like maybe Robert Whittaker would get the upset, but I get those a lot of times. So like sometimes, like I got that before Bisping Rockhold. So like, and then sometimes I got that like I was worried during fucking like Jones OSP. You know what I mean? So I was like, oh, like Jones don't get clipped up accidentally. You know what I mean? So I get those like wrong a lot too. So I'm not saying like I'm on point with this shit, but it was just one of those times. And when he did that, and he was kind of saying title shot was kind of clogged up because Yoel was waiting. But now they're making them face each other, and that's legit. Who do I have? Am I even gonna do a prediction on it now? I don't think so. I don't think I'm gonna predict on it now, but that shit's gonna be it. It's gonna be a good fight because Yoel always comes to fight. Yoel can always fucking just clip someone up and knock him out whenever he wants. He could fucking Neo Matrix. What Matrix was that? Matrix number 2, Reloaded or whatever, where he would just fucking like duck down and just fucking fly like Superman. That's young Yoelito. Fucking I love you, boy. And that motherfucker is scary as shit. Just imagine that, like, that fucking all that force, just random. It's so sporadic. And all that fucking, and his wrestling is incredible. You saw the way he's tossing around Weidman, and that's Weidman, who has incredible wrestling. So yeah, Yoel is just like a fucking wild motherfucker. You never know, and he always pulls it off. I think his one loss was not one loss, but I know he lost to Rafael Feijão in Strikeforce. But they cut Feijão in the UFC like last year. After he lost to OSP, they cut him. And I think OSP had that fight, maybe another fight, or maybe he got the Jones fight, like the replacement Jones fight after that Feijão fight. It was around that time. But yeah, so there's, if you think about it, featherweight is, well, no, you don't even have to think about it. Because technically Jose was the interim champ, and then Conor was the champ, and then that would kind of make Max the interim champ. And when you have lightweight, you have Conor, you don't know when he's going to be back. They're going to do an interim champ with Tony and Khabib. So that's another division that's clogged up, which they're probably going to have to do an interim champ between Tony and Nate, which I hope they do. And then they're doing this shit interim. So that's 3 interim belts in a row in consecutive divisions. And I don't know if you guys heard about the CSAC shit where they're coming up with new fucking weight classes. So I don't know how many belts are going to be out there, but that's kind of crazy. But, it's kind of cool too. But I don't know. We need to see some unification bouts too. We can't just have the interims just lingering. So yeah, man, that was just my quick thoughts on this shit. And you already know it's Mastermind MMA.